Wait, Miley. Come, Wrigglers. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but like that almost whimsical sounding name makes me just, I don't know why, but think of like Willy Wonka. That would be hilarious if they were like Oompa Loompas here and they were the ones to come out, sing a like musical number, and then person ends up dying, RIP. You know, like a dark Willy Wonka. I would love to see it. Welcome back to Your Turn to Rant, your source for theories and analysis on Nankadai's Your Turn to Die. It's been a long time coming, but I am finally back with another part of my Let's Replay series, where I will be going through the entirety of Your Turn to Die and analyzing, theorizing, and just generally commenting on the game as I play. So I won't get into what I've been up to or what's happened here or right now, because I'm really excited to just jump right in right away and not waste any more of your or my time. Without any further ado, let's just jump right in. So last we left off, we were almost finished, I think, the main game. The candidate vote is done. I think there's like one more vote left. We have to choose who we want to kill, essentially. And it can't be the sacrifice or the keymaster, obviously. So yeah, let's get to it. I wonder who it's gonna be. All right, let's not be hasty. Anyone who wants to confess their role, go ahead. Choose. Okie dokie. I cannot tell you, ever since I feel like I've started playing this game, I've been saying okie dokie and alrighty so much more often. I hate it. If anyone wants to confess their role on their card, let's go in order. Development. I have nothing to say. Kana. I have little to say myself. You are free to imagine what you wish. I'm the keymaster. I'm the one who's been saying it from the start. Relax. I was also saying it from the start. Just, you know, after you did. Honestly, this beanie sack of shit can't be trusted. Makes my blood run cold. I love her. In case anyone was doubting. I am the #1 Reco fan, okay? And you can argue with the wall about it. Humph. I'll believe in so. And whoever tries to protect him is a sage. That's where we ought to aim. Why aim for the sage, Wuff? The sage can divine, but if they're outed, it's over. Like, oh, if that's the sage, I can vote for him. So the sage can't confess? Meow. I hate it. I hate when he, like, inserts the meows or the woofs into words that already exist. Don't do that, girl. Please. It hurts. Hey, yeah. If Kana really wants to die, wouldn't she say I'm the sage? Also, the sacrifice gets to vote twice, right? Is the sacrifice someone who received 2 votes? This is hard, meow. Don't want to massacre, woof. Joe, you're not talking. What's your role? Huh? Who cares? Okay then. And Sarah, you're the keymaster? Yes. Okay, that's all our statements. Let's give this some real focus, everybody. Oh yeah, Sarah, if you want to review the rules, ask me anytime. Though we don't have much time. Okie dokie. So just extract from everyone first. My role? Who cares? Don't give me that look, Sarah. Why don't you want to say? Me saying something now is just suspicious, right? That's why I ain't gonna say. I don't think he really changed his statement, but... have him add that statement. Joe, add what you just said. Huh? I'm just saying the same thing. I love how... obviously we're saying add what you say for like the mechanic or whatever of the game, but it makes no sense if she had actually said that, like, you know, in real life, so to speak. No, you said something slightly different. I have nothing to say. There's nothing to speak about. Please, Kana, anything. Give me information. Yeah, giving her the side eye. Nice. Don't go around, you know, scaring little girls, like seriously. Especially not if I have to use them. Ugh, we don't have time. If Kana really wants to die, wouldn't you say I'm the sage? The sage is the easiest one for us to vote for. If they can divine, you can if they can divine... Jesus Christ, I can't talk. If they can divine, you can identify them right away. So it's a mystery to me why Kana wouldn't just call herself the sage. I don't know, maybe because she's a kid and she's not like, you know, she didn't think that hard about it. When I was a kid, I don't even know how old Kana is because I don't know the ages of like literally any of these kids. But I was dumb back then, all right? Maybe it was just me, but I wouldn't be coming up with all these mind games. I'm the keymaster, yeah. You've got scary eyes, Sarah. Now might not be the time to bother with him. Yeah, move on. I'm gonna go with my heart more than my reason. Or shall I say, go with emotion rather than logic, And that beanie guy is bad news. Can't ask him about shit. Well, she's not wrong. It is a little bit unsettling to have now talk about the sacrifice and how the sacrifice works, you know, with the 2 votes. Because that's gonna become real relevant for her later on. I thought we could exclude anyone with 1 vote or less from being the sacrifice, but everyone had 2 or more votes. Ooh, I swear she's the only one who makes noises like these. I hate it. I have 0 trust after the incident with So anything I say... Do you admit you're with the kidnappers? If I denied it, would you believe me? I'll check anyway. Do you deny it? Well now, I wonder. You are digging your hole deeper. He's playing dumb. What meaning could this have? Massacre has a bad sound to it, Wolf. Didn't you say that word first, Skin? No, Wolf. My parents would get mad if they heard me use a word like that, meow. Whose parents will get mad if you say stuff like massacre? It's not that big of a deal. And what would you even use like that word in a sentence for? You know what I mean? Like how would you use that word in a sentence? Especially when you're a kid. Then again, my niece says like the most weird out of pocket stuff sometimes. I remember once I don't even know what I was saying to her, but she ended up telling me that she was going to like rip my spine out or something like that. And I was just like, where did you even learn to say something like that? Are we in like a Mortal Kombat game or something? So yeah. And then who told it to you? Big Bro Joe said it before the preliminary. Jesus Christ. Preliminary. Big Bro Joe said it before the preliminary. I don't know what it is about this sentence, but my mouth does not like it. Big Bro Joe said it before the preliminary vote, meow. If you pick Sarah, it'll be a massacre for sure. Eyes emoji, how would you know that, Joe? Huh, is that why? Have him add the statement. I don't get it, but okay, woof. When I think of those allying with So, it's pretty much just myself. Yeah, girl, because no one likes either of you. Well, no more worry of being picked. What a show, mwahaha. So despicable. Add the statement. What? That's fine, but... I like how everybody is just confused. Me too, buddy. Join the club, because now I don't know what to do. Okay. I think... No, but... Not gonna say? Okay, yeah. Sure. Again, could you tell me that again? Before the preliminary vote, Big Bro Joe, I don't know why that sounds so weird. Like Mojo Jojo. Before the preliminary vote, Big Bro Joe said, if you pick Sarah, it'll be a massacre, woof. Joe, what did you say about your role? Huh? Well, I said I wouldn't say it. You corrected who cares into I won't say. A role you won't say. It's like that, is it? Hold on a second, Sarah. There's no time. We shouldn't be arguing, right? Should I be saying this out loud? The outcomes that result in a massacre, in other words, everyone being killed, it's when either the keymaster or the sacrifice is chosen as the victim. And there's only one role capable of identifying one of those. Of identifying the keymaster. Yes, a role that shouldn't be exposed. Will I expose it myself? So you can either say Joe is a sage or say nothing. I mean, KG like spills the beans regardless of what you say, but I need to be loyal to the bestie. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say nothing. I am ride or die. Literally ride or die. No, I can't say it. Because if Joe is exposed as a sage, he'll be voted for. I can't do that. I get what you're trying to say. KG's like, cool, you don't want him to die, but I don't give a shit. KG, please wait, you're wrong. I had it wrong, so... Joe was a sage, everybody. He does not care about your friendship. He's got no friends, so it's cool. Joe saw Sara was the keymaster. That's why he was convinced of a massacre. Of course, it's just a strong possibility, but can you refute it? This is one of the most unsettling, I'll say, because there is another sprite that I hate more than this, and it's one of KG's sprites. I'm sure some of you know exactly which sprite I'm talking about, but we'll get to it eventually. I guess I can't keep a secret after all. Joe, wait. This is awful. Why? But you aren't giving up yet, are you? Of course not. Everyone, you gotta promise me. What do you mean? I'm the sage. I did a divination, but I haven't clearly said what the result was, because the sage can't lie about the results. I'm going to say who the keymaster is. In exchange, I want you to not vote for me. I'm on board. Now tell us their name. Their name is... Joe? Why do I feel so uneasy? Sara, of course. Joe. All right. Now we look for the sacrifice between So, Kana, and Kai. I'm the sage. Meow? My reading was that Ko. A new character named Ko was the keymaster, everyone. No. My reading was that So was the keymaster. Hey. No, I am the sage. Miss Sara was the keymaster. This is like, I'm Radio Rebel. I'm the sage, everybody. We're all Radio Rebel, deep in our hearts, if you think about it. My head's spinning, woof. Hee hee hee. 8 minutes to go, everyone. Haha. Okay, quit giving statements, you five. He's like, everyone shut up. We're going to discuss this among ourselves first. Hurry, we've got no time. Progress. Okay, I have things that I want to say, but I'm trying to find like a good moment to talk about them. Because the whole revelation that Joe is the sage, well, we already know is not true. We all know that Kai is actually the sage, and Joe is just making shit up. But I think I'll talk about that once we get to a part where things aren't so chaotic. All right, so let's put a pin in that for now. So and Kana are working together. I've got no doubt. KG, there ain't no way Kana is up to no good. Kana's being used by the beanie guy. He's gonna cast her aside. Don't you dare pick her. I got it, woof. Long-haired apron guy said his role last, so he's suspicious, meow. Definitely lying, woof. I was about to believe Joe earlier, but is he really the sage? We can't possibly find the answer in this little time. Ugh, it pains me, but as So or Sara could potentially be the keymaster, we shouldn't vote for them. Oh, someone's finally participating, huh? Alright. I know that much, but I don't know their roles. If there were some way to determine them. Is there a way to do that? Yeah, totally. Oh, really? That's good. Guess I'll persist until you can figure it out, Sara. I like how you can just say, yep, there is a way, without knowing how. And he's like, hey, that's real smart of you. I'm just gonna wait until you actually know what you're talking about. Feels like it might be possible that Joe's a sacrifice even. Ugh. Think. We gotta think. Wonder if the beanie's planning to sacrifice Kana to save his own ass. I mean, it's a very uncharitable way to look at So, but he doesn't inspire the most confidence. And I mean, that's kind of originally what he was trying to do, or at least trying to convince himself that he was going to do. So is such a confusing character. You love to see it though. You hate it, but you love to see it. We need to reason out the roles somehow. If only we could just look at what's on the cards. Then we'd know the roles. What's on the cards? Yeah, what's on the cards? Where's Lightning McQueen? What's on the cards? Understood. He must have realized that if he was the only one without a role, he'd be chosen by process of elimination, meow. How does a kid like him know the words process of elimination? I can't even say it, and I'm an adult. But who would be a safe bet then? All right, we already know what we need to thingy. Yeah, we already know what we need to put into conflict or whatever. What's on the cards? Just maybe. 3 minutes left. Let's take a gamble on it. Listen up, everyone. This is the last discussion. Joe, I'll ask you. Right, ask me anything. What's on the Keymaster card? In other words, what's the design? Huh? You can answer, can't you? As a sage. He is trying so hard to use what little brain cells he has to answer this question properly. I will say, though, that like... Oh, right. Okay, I was gonna be like, how would they know what the correct answer would be? And I mean, yeah, like, the person who has the Keymaster card would know what is on the card. But, like, if you think about it, Sara and So are both saying they're the Keymaster, so they can both just lie, right? They can just say, oh, my sage said the truth, the other sage was lying. And then you're kind of put right back to the crux of the matter, which is that there has to be two people who are straight up lying through their teeth, you know? Also, I think... So's idea is so dangerous if you think about it, because he has no idea who the Keymaster is. So by lying and saying he's the Keymaster, he could be setting all of them up to fail if they accidentally end up selecting the real Keymaster. And it just so happened that Sara was the Keymaster, right? The one person who he hates and wants to get rid of. And for a while, he was like actively trying to push everyone to not believe her and to not take her side. So if he had managed to get everyone to turn on her, if everyone had voted for her, then they would all be screwed. So I am kind of curious what his plan exactly was, you know, outside of keeping himself safe by lying and saying he's the Keymaster. Either he was thinking of targeting someone other than Sara, like someone who is on her side or whatever. Or maybe he just didn't believe Sara at all. Maybe he is so anti-Sara or whatever that he thought that she genuinely was making it up and she was lying and the Keymaster was someone else. Either way, it's a real shaky plan. Like you have to be real careful that you don't end up not just screwing everyone else over, but screwing yourself over too, because you could die as well. But yes, let's get back to this moment here. We know now that Joe has no clue what's on the card, the Keymaster card. So it's just like a lucky break that he manages to actually get it right. Well done, KG. You revealed the truth with just one question. Don't take me lightly, will ya? Obviously, it's a picture of a key. The Keymaster. So it's a key? Too bad. Actually... Kana, what did it look like to you? I love how confident So is acting when he knows damn well that Kana's not gonna know the answer. So she's just gonna make something up. And then, of course, he's gonna pretend like it's the right answer. Imagine if she didn't say lock. What if she said something like completely random? It was a picture of a lock. Correct. The design for the Keymaster is a lock. Slipped up right at the very end, Joe. What are you talking about? I saw it for sure. A picture of a key. There's no time. This is your last chance, Sara. The last... Right, there's no time to keep drawing out statements. I need to deal the final blow in just one action, or we all lose. Now extract... This will be my final action. Oh, okay. The sage knows the Keymaster. If that's true, some people are telling the truth and some are telling lies. There's probably no time to extract statements out of people at this point. Alright, Joe told me that in the beginning. Think more, use clout. I'm gonna keep my clout, thank you very much. This is it. Please elaborate on the statement. The answer lies within. Does it really? Please don't get in my way now, so. And did you think you could prove anything with such a half-hearted attempt? Ugh. Wait, what? I got it wrong? Leave this to me. Was I mistaken? My clout is gone? No, I messed up in the very last moment. With no decision made, the voting begins. Filled with irritation at my failure and fear of suspicion, my vision went black. I can hardly remember anything that came next. Not even who was chosen and who died. I'm sorry, that is such a weak game over ending. Like, come on. Just, I don't know. I blacked out forever. And that's it. No going forward. Okay, so it wouldn't make sense for Sara to go right for Kai in the beginning. Oopsie. It's been a while, okay? I haven't played this in a long-ass time. Okally dokally. So what, like, do I pit their guys together? No, this doesn't feel right. I genuinely cannot remember what the right answer is supposed to be here. So if I cut to me doing the right action or whatever, just know that I probably failed like 100 times because I do not remember.
6 hours later.
Okay. So, I think, well, obviously we need to talk about the, you know, sage and whether they can see the card or not. Well. Thank God. Right now, I'm seeing the worst outcome in my head. This is just an uncertain line of logic. Logic? Every time they say logic, reason, emotion, feeling, my eyes are just like popping out in my head. An imperfect whole of the kidnapper's design. If all my guesses are correct, it's over. It's all over. Please, let me be wrong. I don't have anywhere left to go but forward. Kai, yes? Please tell me the results of your divination. Quit it, Sara. Talking to Kai now is just a waste of time. Believe in me. I'm curious why Joe was against this line. All right. I guess now is a good enough time to kind of talk a little bit about Joe and Kai and what's going on here exactly. So Joe is very insistent that Sara not, I guess, interrogate Kai about his divination if he is the sage. And well, we know that he definitely is the sage, but Joe seems very desperate that she not talk to him about it. Almost as if he knows that Kai is the sage and maybe is trying to protect him. So I get the feeling that Kai and Joe are kind of working together in some sort of capacity because knowing what we players know, you know, with the benefit of hindsight, there is that footage that KG and Sara see later on, like way later on in the game, where there is footage of the first floor and you can see Kai and Joe talking about something and they're like both very serious or something like that. And there's a lot of emphasis put on this scene between the two of them because obviously there's meant to be some sort of significance to the fact that Kai and Joe are talking to each other. However, we see the footage, but there is no audio, so there is no way of knowing what they were discussing. And obviously, because there is such an emphasis put on this conversation, it's definitely going to be something that's important, and it will be revealed in the final part of Chapter 3. Which makes me believe that they were definitely talking about the death game and about Asunaro in some sort of capacity. I mean, I've mentioned before that I think Joe knows a lot more than he's letting on. And I feel like either he knew Kai for a while now, or maybe he kind of recently discovered that Kai has something to do with Asunaro, right? Or that he's working for the Chidouins. Because there's a lot of uncertainty around when Sara and Joe get kidnapped and what exactly happened then. So either Joe kind of figured out Kai's involvement then, or he's kind of known about it even before then. And so I feel like Joe and Kai were likely discussing Asunaro and also the death game. And most certainly they were discussing Sara, right? Because that is the one thing that they have in common. Their love for Sara and their desire to protect her. So I feel like they were probably making some kind of plan to protect her, kind of talking about what they can do to ensure that she survives the upcoming main game. While there's a lot of ambiguity here because we don't know how much Joe knows, we don't really know what they were saying to each other. So I'm not 100% certain if they had discussed their cards at that time, because there was that dummy rule that you couldn't talk about the card that you have. You couldn't show it to someone else, otherwise you'll die, which is what stopped Sara from showing her Keymaster card to anyone or talking about it. Although it's pretty obvious that So knew that that was a dummy rule and Kyutaro knew as well, which makes me wonder, did Joe and Kai somehow manage to know that? Or were they kind of just talking around the cards and more just generally talking about how both of them wanted to protect Sara and that's what they were going to try and do, right? Like work together during the main game to kind of ensure her safety. However, I'm pretty certain that when Joe tells Gin about how it'll be a massacre if Sara is voted for, I think he definitely knew that Sara had the Keymaster then. And I feel like at some point, Kai did tell Joe that Sara is the Keymaster, right? He did his divination and then he told Joe. I'm not 100% sure when the divination happens. I feel like it probably happens before they go into the main game, right? Like the grounds. It's probably when they're all like separated in those different rooms. That's kind of the only time I think the sage would be able to make their divination, like at this stage, right? Because the tablets weren't a thing yet. So yeah, I feel like once they were coming out and going to the main game grounds, Kai told Joe that Sara is the Keymaster. And so initially, maybe his plan was that he wanted people to vote for him, right? Because he's the sacrifice. If he gets voted for, then he and someone else can essentially escape the death game. But if he's not voted for, he's gonna be killed. I hope that this isn't very long, but Thor, all that leading me to say, initially his plan might have been that he's willing to do whatever it takes to save Sara, even going so far as to get everyone else killed, right? So he tells Gin about the massacre, hoping that Gin will bring it up at some point, and that will make people suspicious of Joe and make them think that he's a sage. And so they'll vote for him because they'll think it's safe to do so. And if he does that, then he will manage to save Sara, even if it is at everyone else's expense. However, Joe obviously had a change of heart, and instead of killing the others, he decided that he would rather like trust in them and kind of hope that Sara is okay. He's hoping that even if he dies, at least Kai will still be around to take care of Sara in his stead. And I feel like maybe that's also something that Kai and Joe discussed in their conversation, right? Kind of having like a death pact. Is that a thing? A death pact? I don't know what else to call it, right? Like having a pact with each other where, hey, if something happens to me, then you are going to be responsible for making sure that Sara survives. Only the worst thing ever comes to pass because literally both of them die in this main game, which would be very ironic. And I think right up Nankadai's alley. Like that's definitely something he loves to do. He loves playing around with irony after the fact. So that would be both hilarious and sad at the same time, which is very emblematic of this game. So yeah, is that everything that I wanted to say? I'm like looking at my notes. At the very least, though, I do believe that they were talking about Sara and they were essentially coming up with some sort of even vague plan to take care of her, right? Or basically being like, if I die, then you have to take care of her in my stead, kind of thing, which obviously ended up not happening. But I do think it aligns with what happens in the main game, right? Where Joe, as the sacrifice, is trying to get people to vote for him by pretending to be the sage, which would throw suspicion off of Kai, who actually is the sage and would get voted for if people found out that he was. So that's why I believe Joe is a little desperate here by trying to throw Sara off of this like train of thought. He wants to at least ensure that Kai survives because he knows that Kai would take care of Sara where he can't. and he would use the knowledge that he has of Asunaro to do it. But obviously that does not work out, and they both end up essentially dying. Oh my god, I think I talked for like at least 10 minutes or something. I'm gonna have to cut this part down like severely. But I thought this was as good a time as any to word vomit what I think was happening between Kai and Joe. And I'm really curious if you guys agree or if you disagree. What do you think about this, I don't know, theory, idea? Or do you have something completely different in mind for what Kai and Joe could be talking about? But yeah, enough chatting. Let's just get right back to it. And this look makes me think that I might be right. It just seems so much like Kai and Joe are working together in this moment. You won't say, will you, Kai? Because you can't say? This is like my favorite sprite of his. It's just so funny for some reason. What are you? It says this in Rulebook 2. The sage knows who the keymaster is via divination, but cannot lie about the results of divination. All it says is they know who it is. Plus, they can't lie about the results. The real sage couldn't see any design. So Kai, who didn't say a design, is the sage. But if that's it, then why? There it is. Why did Joe claim to be the sage? I think when I initially played this, I was confused as hell about this. I had no clue why, right? Because I literally learned all the rules about the main game and then immediately forgot about them. So I did not know. I simply did not understand what the significance of this would be. All I knew was that Joe was probably gonna die now. All signs seem to be pointing to that. Present it all to Kai. Keep it all inside. Well, the jig is up. I think if you keep it all inside, then like, once again, Keiji steps in. Or maybe So does? You know what? I'm gonna go with keep it all inside just to see if, you know, who is the one who puts the pieces together. I think it's Keiji. I can't say it. No, this is wrong. Oh, and here's the red text. It was all mistaken. Something's wrong with me. Since Kai couldn't say a design, he's a sage. I love that shit-eating grin he has while saying this. Oop! Huh. Oh my god. Girl, no. Put that smile away. My fate has been set then. It was a close one. You! Sure enough, you had Kana lie for you. More importantly, we should listen to Kai. Kai's last words, that is. When we came to the subject of designs, I realized I was in danger. I thought I might play dumb, but it was clear I would be the most voted simply due to my lack of trust. Yet I do not wish to die. Oh, man. Nankadai is really playing with me right now. I really do love that common theme, though. That common refrain that all of these characters have, where all of them, or like not all of them, but a lot of them express their desire not to die, right? You have Keiji, Sara, Kai here. So's character is just built around his, wish not to die. And that's a very human thing, right? Everyone has that desire to survive. But in dangerous or difficult situations, that desire to survive can manifest itself in like really crazy ways. And it can lead people to doing a lot of desperate and essentially messed up things, is what the game is trying to convey. Kai. The sacrifice is surely Joe. Joe? I'm convinced. Oh, that kind of goes against my theory. I'm convinced he purposely took actions that could be read as those of the sage. And thus, please vote for So. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if that works for or against my thoughts about them working together. No, I think this still works with my theory because essentially what Kai is saying is that, they shouldn't kill him off, they should kill off So. So yeah, he's trying to ensure that at least he survives while Joe dies. And of course, it's not all tied into him wanting to be around to help Sara out. I definitely believe that he does not want to die. But yeah, there could be like both desires, right? He wants to stick around long enough to help Sara, and then he also wants to live. And he's kind of being confronted with his own death, so it makes sense that he's panicking. I mean, even Midori panics when he realizes that he's gonna die. Why me? He is a dangerous man. He will certainly disturb our teamwork and lead everyone into danger. I did indeed have contact with the kidnappers, but if you let me live, I will tell everything. I have vital information for our escape. See ya, Kai. Ugh, stop. I hate it here. Let my man go. He did nothing wrong. Okay, well, he did some things wrong, but don't worry about it. Guys, don't be fooled. I'm the sage. He's like sweating. I was gonna say, does it even matter? Like, why is he insisting on him being the sage? But obviously, if we go off of what I'm thinking, he's trying to keep the suspicion off of Kai. Right? Because, you know, I feel like it has to be that Joe is trying to throw suspicion off of Kai, because why else would he insist on being the sage? You already got people's like agreement that they wouldn't vote for him back when he said that he was the sage. So the only reason I can see for him being so insistent on it right now is that he doesn't want people to believe that Kai is the sage. Does that make sense? I feel like maybe I'm missing something, but if he wasn't working with Kai in any capacity, then I don't know if he would be so insistent on people, you know, knowing the truth here. Like, it sucks that he's a sacrifice or whatever. Maybe he doesn't want to admit to it, but like, it's not like he's trying to fool people because, you know, he wants them to vote for him. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's just continue. It's time to vote. Please refrain from whisperings. Please don't kill me. I don't know why I laughed. It just sucks knowing what we know. Jeez. It is really sad if you choose to vote for Joe because he does like mention it. I'm just gonna vote for myself. Bye. Wait, does anything bad happen if I vote for myself? I'm gonna vote for me. I can't do it, all right? I can't choose. He had 2 votes. I'm pretty sure Joe voted for himself. I'm just trying to think if he was working with Kai, what he would have done. I mean, even if he voted for So, it wouldn't have made a difference, right? We can see that Kai has like 6 votes. So has 3. So if we do the math, Kai would still have 1 extra vote. But wouldn't he want to like ensure, or wouldn't he want to at least try to make it so that Kai has less votes? You know what I mean? Wouldn't he at least try to see if he could tip the scales for Kai? I don't know. Hey, you know, I could be completely off the mark. Maybe they were just talking about the weather in that conversation. You never know. Welp, there you have it. That's too bad. You lose, Kai. Girl, he is going to die, all right? You can relax. You don't have to, like, get one final jab in, all right? If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Ever heard of that? I understand. So long as you may be the sacrifice, choosing you is risky. It's more than that. If you picked me with emotion, that would be your will. But everyone chose with logic. Awful, isn't it? Ugh, this setup for the second main game, where emotion and logic comes up again. Nankadai was wild for this. Right, so I guess he's essentially trying to say, from a cynical standpoint, you know, the people who voted logically were essentially trying to absolve themselves of blame. And being like, well, at least I didn't choose emotionally. I didn't choose someone who I, like, hated. And did that just because I hate them or whatever. It would suck if you did choose someone just because you hate them, because you're killing them off because you don't like them, you know? Rather than if you choose logically, you're kind of just taking the facts in or whatever and trying to make an informed decision, right? It's like a decision that is free of emotion, essentially. Anyway, let's just continue. This vote isn't about our own wills. That's what everyone's telling themselves, how they're fooling themselves. You gotta love the subtlety of this writing, you know? Okay, maybe I just remembered him, like, saying this, and that's why I went on my stupid-ass tangent earlier. But also, it is kind of funny how Nankadai really wants to make sure you understand what he's trying to get at. So he'll just spell it out for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, we get it. Ehehe. Now everyone, enjoy yourselves as I check your answers. First, the sage. You are right on, everyone. It was Kai Sato. Yay! Everybody clap. Next, the Keymaster. Hehe. The fierce battle between you two was a true sight to see. Amazing. It was Sara Chidouin. No, stop it. And the sacrifice, the one who dies with objective incomplete is... Drumroll, please. Please. Ta-da! It was Joe Tazuna. Jesus. All of the moisture is leaving him right now. Well, that's not the only thing that's gonna be leaving him soon. R.I.P. Well, what to say? Guys, sorry for tricking you. Dumbass, what are you sorry about? You, 'cause of us, you, don't you feel better? I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, I just can't see you as bad guys. Ooh, man, this scene makes me emo every time. Even so, and Alice must be good people, really. Oh, you can tell he took some emotional damage from that too. ×2 here. Technically, Joe isn't wrong, right? Because, I mean, Joe isn't lying. He is essentially saying that they aren't bad people, and it's true. We do know that So and Alice aren't really the ones to blame here. Even if they are taking the antagonistic roles in this main game, ultimately, Asunaro is the one who's really at fault. And by dividing the group like this, by forcing them to essentially fight amongst one another, it does kind of keep the group from really uniting together against Asunaro in any meaningful way. And that's why I really believe that Joe is almost like the moral center or like the heart of this game in a way. Like his way of thinking and the words that he says and the feelings that he has, they are all kind of really the point that I think Nankadai is trying to make here. That all of these people aren't bad people. They're just being put in a really difficult situation. And really, they should be doing their best to work together. And obviously, I mean, Nankadai isn't trying to be like condescending about that necessarily. It's kind of just coming from a place of empathy. Sarah, this isn't real. It's just... Sorry, I even tricked you. Joe, stop it. I don't believe it. Interesting that he apologized for tricking her, right? Because if you really read into it, should Joe actually know more about Asunaro than he lets on, he could be apologizing for not just tricking her into believing he was the sage, but also just having tricked her in general. Sarah, you didn't vote for me. That's what made it clear. All of you guys are my friends. So, work together and do your best. Ah, sniff. Last, there's something I want to say. Ugh, not this scene, please. Leave me alone. Sure enough, it's hard for a guy and a girl to say this sort of stuff to each other, huh? I love you, Sarah. You're my best friend. Wah! I know I'm ruining this scene for everyone here, but come on now. How am I supposed to say that, like, genuinely anyway? Wah! Whoa. Ah. Yes, it's over already. Hehehe. Kai Sato, chosen by vote, will be the main event, whereas you're the opening act. Hurry up and die. Wait, Miley. Come, Wrigglers! I'm sorry. I don't know why, but like that almost whimsical sounding name makes me just, I don't know why, but think of like Willy Wonka. That would be hilarious if they were like Oompa Loompas here and they were the ones to come out, sing a like musical number, and then person ends up dying, R.I.P. You know, like a dark Willy Wonka. I would love to see it. Suck all the blood from Joe Tazuna. Gah. Gah. Ah. I like how it goes up and down. Is it ah? Or is she getting further away? Ah. Please, Miley, stop this. I'll do anything. I'll die in his place. So... Save Joe. Please help him. How cute, Sarah. Why not? I'll give you a chance. Huh? Get out of here with this. Now this was dark-sided. Not just of Miley, but also of Non-Kadai. Getting everybody's hopes up. But I think this moment is done really well because having like that, I don't know, slider, is that what it's called? Like having that health bar, essentially, that's what it was, right? Joe's health bar go down steadily no matter what you did. It really put you in Sarah's shoes. It does a really good job of really making you feel like the helplessness that Sarah must feel in this moment. Because no matter how much you press this button, you, the player, or you, Sarah, Joe is still going to die. So yeah, I think this was done really, really well. Even if I think it's evil. Just keep pressing it. The device will be slowed the more you press, and maybe even stop. Give me that. Alright, here we go, guys. I apologize for how loud this is going to be. Now, keep mashing that button. Maybe you'll save him? Hehehe. Yeah, like, how could you think that she was telling the truth? Come on now. Come on now, specifically. Oh, shit. Oh my god, it already started and I'm failing. I wonder if I can make it to the top again. Oh, I'm not even pressing the right... Leave me alone. I never said I was a gamer girl. Oh my god, I keep doing it. Even if there was a way to save Joe, I would suck at it, clearly. I'm so glad there is, like, no camera here because of the expression I'm making right now. Okay, I give up. Oh my god. I feel like I was gonna freaking pull a muscle doing that. R.I.P. bestie. Joe expired. Joe, please respond. Open your eyes. Ryoko, your family. You need to go home to them, don't you? I like how she said Ryoko first. I'm sure Joe cares about his, like, one-day girlfriend more than his own family. Let's go to school together with Ryoko. I feel like Ryoko is eventually gonna have some kind of a part to play. Just because they mention her so often. Like, not... Yeah, it turns out that Ryoko is actually the big bad. She's the one who's leading Asunaro. Like, obviously, I don't mean in that way. I don't think it's gonna turn out that she's, like, you know, the final boss or anything. But I think she's gonna have some kind of significance here. Maybe she has something to do with Asunaro somehow. Like, she might be from one of the quote-unquote crime families or whatever. Who knows? But I definitely feel like something's up with Ryoko, like somehow, in some way. I know that's very vague, but that's all I've got. Click, 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 click. With each press of the button, my heart crumbles. Click, 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 click. Like I'm pounding my heart with a hammer. Click, 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 click. Ugh, this is such a nice moment. I love how, like, the art came together on this, how the text worked, and then that hand coming in and, like, stopping her. It just all looks so good. You love to see it. You love to see artistry. Just stop, Sarah. It's enough. It's not funny, but... How cute you are, even when you cry. Alright, let's leave that alone. You were so close. It might have stopped with just a little more. Legitimately a sadist. Girl, please. Relax. Sniffle. You're horrible. As if you ever intended to let me save him. It's nothing to cry about, is it? Your hard work let Joe Tazuna live just a bit longer. With each button press of yours, Joe suffered longer. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. How boring. Have you been broken? Oh, very well. I have no time to spare for you. For Kai Sato, you are the main event. Unfortunately, I will not let you do as you wish. Yikes, yeah. That's what he was doing. I do think it's interesting that Kai almost used Joe as like a distraction to pull this off. So despite the fact that both of them are like actively dying right now, they still were working together. You know what I mean? I will issue my own death. You? What selfishness? The knife from the kitchen? As if I'll allow you suicide. Brah! You gotta love Kyutaro for this. You know, he gets a lot of hate and a lot of flack. Some of it kind of justified with regards to, you know, some of the messed up things he says and does. But at his heart, Kyutaro is coming from a good place. And you can really see it because when Kyutaro's good, he is so good. For example, now. Grah. Damn it. Get off, you idiot brute. Like hell. I wouldn't let go if you killed me. Damn it. I can't activate the device. Miss Sarah, can you hear me? Joe, Listen to me, Sarah. This is resistance. Our lives toyed with to our enemies' whims. We are unable to save even a single person. As we die off, this is my feeble resistance. But it is one large step toward counterattack. It is a step I was able to take because you bought me time. It is surely not futile. What does that mean? Like, yeah, he managed to off himself before Sumaili did, but is there meant to be some kind of significance to that, you know? Like, does that really mess with their plans in any kind of way? Unless he's talking about something else, which maybe? I entrust them to you. Our regrets, our hopes. I am satisfied. Kai. But then again, I do kind of get what he's trying to get at here. He essentially manages to off himself before Asunaro can really make it into this like spectacle like Sumaili did with Joe. And yeah, so that I guess that's why he calls it his feeble resistance. This is all that he has within his power to do in this really difficult situation. Not to glorify what Kai did. I don't want to put it like that. But that's kind of all that he had at his disposal. So that's what he kind of went with. I like how I answered my own question there. Although I will also add the fact that nowhere does it say that Kai died. So this is another theory that people really like to bring up. The fact that maybe Kai is still alive. I think the biggest clue that he might be alive is the fact that there was no Kai expired line anywhere. For the other characters, when they die within a main game, there's always some kind of text that shows up after the fact in red that says blank expired. So Joe expired, now expired. But for Kai, there is no such thing. And even So, who died off screen, he tried to run away and I think he got to the room of rubble before he succumbed to his wounds. He still gets a So expired line. So why doesn't Kai, who did, die within the main game grounds, even if it wasn't necessarily because of Asunaro, right? Like it was something he inflicted on himself. Why didn't he get a Kai expired line? And there are other things, something, like about how as an assassin, Kai would know how to like injure himself without bleeding out and dying, essentially. But that doesn't convince me as much as the expired line does. And also, something I'll note is the fact that there's still the thing of Joe and Kai's conversation. We need to know what they said because Nankadai brings up this mystery, and so there needs to be a way of resolving that mystery. And seeing as both of those people who had that conversation are dead, only like two things can be possible. Because there was no audio, it wasn't recorded on the first floor. That means that one, either someone had to have overheard them and they will be the ones to kind of explain what they had been talking about. Or number two, either Joe or Kai will have to explain what they were talking about. And the only way for them to do that is if one of them happens to be alive. And it can't be a doll or whatever who explains that, because in order for the doll to have that information, Asunaro needs to have that information. They have to code it into the doll. So the doll can't just magically know of its own volition. And it is possible for someone to have overheard them. That is a plot point that's been brought up a few times, like with Now catching Reko and the Mishima's AI talking before the AI dies, or Reko overhearing Now and Mishima. But I feel like, one, that'll be a little too overplayed by that point. And then also two, I don't know, like if the information that they discussed had to do with the death game in Asunaro, that is huge information that I don't think someone who overheard it would just keep to themselves, you know? So yeah, which is what leads me to believe that either Joe or Kai will have to actually be alive and be the one to explain what Joe and Kai were discussing in their conversation. And it doesn't make sense for it to be Joe because we've already done that fake out. We already had his hallucination, and then we had the AI that showed up afterward. So I think it would just, from a narrative and emotional standpoint, make more sense for Kai to be the one who is actually alive. Maybe he is the one that... So when Sara and Keiji go back to the first floor and they go into the pink room and they go to the room that's beyond the pink room, there is somebody who is like in a medical bed or something like that on the other side of the glass, but they can't see who it is. So that could have the potential to be Kai, recuperating from his wounds. Only thing is, I don't know why Asunaro would want to keep Kai alive. That's like the big question on my mind. If Kai is alive and the theory is correct or whatever, why would Asunaro keep Kai alive? What would be their justification for doing that? The only thing I can think of is, I don't know. I mean, Kai was originally supposed to be Sara's right-hand man. Or well, not Sara specifically. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the leader of Asunaro's right-hand man. So maybe that's why, because Kai was the assassin who survived and was gonna have to be the right-hand man. Maybe they wanted to keep him alive for that reason. But they were so willing to kind of let him die and by putting him within the death game itself. So that doesn't really hold water for me, to be honest. I'm not sure if I 100% believe in the Kai is alive theory, but I do believe that some of it does have merit. And I can see why people believe in this theory. I'm just not super duper 100% convinced, personally. But yeah, I think it would make sense. It does make sense in certain aspects. And I could see it having a good impact on the story. Like some theories, they just seem so strange and outlandish that you're kind of like, what does this even have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Like, for example, some people believe that Mishima is still alive. That's a theory I've seen. And like, I kind of feel like, for what reason? Within the story and outside of it, I don't think there's any reason for Mishima to be alive still. And in fact, I feel like it kind of takes away from the story if that turns out to be true. Whereas with Kai, originally I did feel like him being alive would take away from the story, just because it really takes away from the impact that his death has and the impact of his letter to Sara, right? Like the whole tragedy surrounding Kai, of how he never really got to live. And also he never really got to have any kind of positive relationship with Sara, despite caring so much about her and despite having protected her all these years. So I do feel like him being alive takes away from that, but I see the merit in him being alive too. That's my, I can't even say that's my 2 cents because I feel like I've talked about this for long enough. Tazuna, wasn't today your birthday? Huh? Good memory, Chidouin. And hey, didn't I say Joe was fine? Then you should call me Sara yourself. Have this, Joe. What the heck? It's so cute. It's a dog keychain? My friend Ryoko wanted at an arcade. You can take it. Then I'll wear it here till graduation. I like how Sara was so upfront about the fact that she's just re-gifting a present to him, and Joe does not even care. That long? Don't get it confiscated. Thanks, Sara. Aww. Nine remain. Jesus, Kyutaro is so tall. That's crazy. Like, look at Reko in comparison to him. She doesn't even come up to his shoulders. She, like, comes up to his, like, I don't know, what is that? Like, nipple height or something? Wild. How's Sara? She's tossing and turning. I'm right next to you, big sis Sara. Meow. I'll go too. I don't know what I can do, but I'll at least stay by her side. Yeah, right. This time, we'll give her strength. I really do love the relationship that Reko, Now, and Sara have. And yeah, Gintu, whatever. But the three of them, they're like a unit, you know? Well, not for long, but, you know. Hehe. Please, everyone, rest up a while before proceeding to the next floor. Eh? Can you go home? A funny joke. We've only just begun. Let us enjoy this, everyone. Hehe. Haha. Kai, were you really a bad guy? Being bad, that makes you a good-for-nothing. And you didn't seem to me like you're a good-for-nothing guy. I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, man, like, something that's very understated is the dynamic that Kyutaro and Kai have with each other. I think that's really intriguing too. And it's actually something that I'll definitely be touching on whenever I get around to making a character analysis for Kyutaro, just because I think it's actually really important to Kyutaro. Like, even though we don't see the moments between them, we do know that I'm pretty sure like 100% that Kyutaro and Kai were in a group together, right? When everyone splits off to investigate the facility, I think Kyutaro and Kai go together. So even though it seems like, you know, this comes out of left field for Kyutaro to be so hung up over Kai, I think that they probably had some kind of bond or connection that we don't get to see. So I guess you could say that I do ship them. I was trying to think, what is their ship name? Q-Kai. Cutie Kai. Maybe put their last names together? Suburk. Burger Tao. Burger Toe. It sounds terrible, but clearly any kind of portmanteau or ship name just sounds like garbage. But really, how can you come up with like a good ship name with a man whose name is Kyutaro Burgerberg? Literally none of that sounds good. I want to know everything. You're the one who said it. I don't like this. Please don't make Sara sad. Didn't you feel anything from what Joe said? Ooh, you gotta love that inner conflict that's going on here. There are so many scenes that I think are done really well when it comes to So, and this one is definitely one of them. It's such a short moment, and yet you really can see the conflict that So has to deal with constantly. He's trying to do whatever it takes to survive, but he still has a conscience, right? He still has morals, and even if he says that he's killed, you know, Shin Tsukimi, or Shin Tsukimi, is it? I don't know. Clearly, I don't know how to pronounce these names. But anyway, even though he tries to convince himself and others that he's kind of killed the person he used to be, we know it's not true. Nice try. Good talk. Hey, you said you were a policeman, yes? What about it? Oh, the way I just caught the fact that he didn't confirm nor deny that. Girl, this guy really gaslit everyone. And he did it well, all right? You gotta give him that. A policeman knows about murder cases, yes? Yeah, if I'm in charge of them. Do you know the crime I committed? Why? I imagine it's just a coincidence. I killed a person once. What was the victim's name? It was Sohiori. I was gonna say, how could this be a coincidence? But I mean, I don't know how common a name like Sohiori is in Japan. So maybe. Although I don't think it's a very extremely common name or anything. And this is a pretty crazy coincidence that you are brought out of prison into a death game. And it just so happens that one of the people have the same name as the man you killed. Come on now. At the very least, the people who created this whole thing are just fucking with you. Completed chapter 1, part 2. Finally, it's over. Dobby is free. You don't know how long it's taken me to get to this point. God. Or well, you kind of do. You know how long it's been. But geez, for a while, I thought I would never get around to recording this. Things were looking bleak for a while, but we got here eventually. Slow and steady, you know? I will say things have been so hectic and crazy lately for me, which is why this took so long to come out. And then also I was kind of losing my motivation to do this, but you know, that had nothing to do with me in terms of not wanting to create on this channel. It was just personal things and my own issues that I had to like freaking crawl through. But I made it. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, promise. So be sure to stick around, you know? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'd love to hear what you guys think about everything that happened, everything that's gonna happen, so on and so forth. Everything you guys do, just know that I appreciate so, so much. Thanks so much for sticking around, you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!